Hey y'all, it's Brandon with Voodoo Forge, and what I'm going to do is I have been looking at my handleless struck tools. I don't really know what else to call them, but struck tool is something you use blacksmithing, and it's separate. You put it on your material and you hit it with a hammer, so you strike it. It's a struck tool. Now there are all kinds of handled struck tools. You know, this is a hot cut. This is a handled round punch, but then I've got a whole pile of handleless struck tools. So like a cold chisel is an example, and different decorative punches and other punches, drifts to make holes bigger, things like that. And I've got them kind of in a mess over there. And I've got several duplicates from where I couldn't find one, and so I made another one, and so I ended up with more than one. So I need to go through those. I need to take the mushrooming off. I need to sharpen what needs to be sharpened, reshape what needs to be reshaped, and then I need to give them all a coat of bright paint, and then clean the rack out. So I'm just going to show you how I take care of my handleless struck tools. Well, here they are, and I've kind of divided them into categories. These are things I used to use as slitters. I hadn't used these in several years, but I'm going to go ahead and clean them up too. Cold chisels, cake chisels, drifts. These are punches, square and round. I've got a set of machinist punches too that I use working on equipment, but they're not in my blacksmithing tools. These are decorative punches and center punches. Now usually when I'm using one of these, I'll hold them in a pair of vice grips so that my hand's not right over the heat. But what my goal is here is any of them that need to be sharpened, I'm going to sharpen them. Any of them that need to have where the head started to mushroom, like this one, I'm going to grind that off and get that back in good shape, and then just kind of go through them. Like this is a thing, somebody has used this as a drift before. You can see where it's been hit on the top here, and a guy gave it to me as a drift, but I'm pretty sure it's a fence picket, so we're gonna get that out of there. I've never used it, so. But some of the drifts have gotten a little beat up on the ends. Going to clean that up and then get them all painted a bright color again. I'm going to start with removing the little bit of mushrooming on this cold chisel. Just going to do it on the grinding wheel. Took care of that, and I've got a bunch of those to work on that way. Now that I've got all the mushrooming taken care of, I'm going to take the chisels that need some attention and sharpen them. There's a couple of ways to do this. One of them's on a belt sander. This is a little cheapy, but it works great for this kind of stuff. Now you don't want to do this on a grinding wheel, but a belt sander works good because you don't want to get it too daggum hot, because these cold chisels are generally used cold, so there's hardening and tempering involved there. Hot cuts and drifts and things like that, they are made to be used on hot materials, so you can use a grinding wheel if you want to. I usually use a sander, or I use a flat disc in a vise, and I'll show you how I do that. Using an angle grinder with a real worn flat disc works pretty good for sharpening them too. You want one you can lock in the own position, You're gonna put it in a vise and then log it on. So we got this bad boy sharp and never got it above a temperature that I can't put my thumb on. Now for center punches, an angle grinder also works real well. Now I've really just got one drift that has a little mushrooming at the tip that I've got to get off, so I'll get that off using the angle grinder. Now a lot of people will take these cast drifts and take a sander or sandpaper or emery cloth or a flat disc or something and completely clean this rough texture off of here. I suppose it does make it a little easier to drift. I've never had a problem with it, so I just leave it in there. Now the last thing I need to do here is, you probably noticed I've kind of painted bright colors, depending on what bright colored paint I have whenever I make one or get ready to do this. Today I'm going to be painting them paprika, but really the only point in painting the shafts on these is so when I drop them on the floor of the shop, which inevitably happens, they won't look like every other piece of steel laying on the floor of the shop. So it doesn't have to be a perfect paint job. You know, I'm not painting a hot rod. But this just makes it a little easier to identify what is a tool and what is not a tool on the floor of the daggum shop. Well, everything's sorted out. Everything that needed to be fixed on them's fixed. I got them painted, so pretty much done with that part of it. I went through them and I picked out some that either are duplicates or I never use or I actually made for another purpose, and I'm going to be putting those elsewhere out of my little punch area. And that's this little pile right here. I hadn't used these in years. I actually made this for a specific purpose, and that was cutting some bolts under the frame of a van that I don't even own anymore. And then these are all just duplicates. So I'm gonna, I got them all cleaned up and everything, but I'll go ahead and put those aside, so I'll have them. And honestly, these cake chisels, I have used one of them one time, so I'm gonna put those with my machinist stuff, because they're not, I don't use them blacksmithing. But now I just gotta organize them over here where I keep them. Still gonna be a tight fit in the rack. I usually just keep my drifts down there. These are all the little decorative punches. Little flat guy fits back here pretty good. You're not gonna go in there. You're gonna go in there. No. Do a little bit of rearranging here. Man, I'm still not gonna have enough holes for them. Even getting rid of a bunch of them. Let's lay these right here. Center punches together. Now, next time I need a punch or a chisel, it should be a whole lot easier than the mess that was back there. Well, y'all, that's about all there is to it. I've probably got more around here that I just ended up not putting up. This is part I'm trying to kind of redo some of the things I do in the shop. Normally, when dealing with these things, I would wait until I needed it and then discover that it needed to have some mushrooming ground off or needed to be sharpened and deal with it right then. But I'm making a concerted effort to do these things all at once when I have some downtime, so that when I need my tools, they're in good shape, they're organized, they're clean, they're sharp, they're ready to go. So that's kind of where I'm coming at from this. Next I got to sort out my hammer rack and tong rack and all of that, which actually isn't in terrible shape, but I need to go ahead and go through all that. So anyway, hopefully you got something from this. Maybe you could look around at what needs to be maintained in your shop and get at it. And this isn't an indictment of anyone, because trust me, I let things get in terrible shape before I get to this point. And then here for about a month, I won't have any downtime. I'll be working on little projects like this to get the shop clean and straightened. And then I probably won't fool with it again for another year. But I think doing them all at once is the way to go. With the exception of the paint drying, this only took about an hour and a half. So it's really a time saver in the end. And then when I need it, when I'm working on a job, everything's ready to go. So I hope y'all got something from this, and y'all behave yourselves.